Okay, so this is going to be a tutorial on trying to sculpt an eyelid. Alright. So at the model I have sitting here, it's only 67,000 polys. The reason being is I think my subdivision levels are down. Let's take a quick look. I have them turned down at the moment because I smoothed out the eye here so that I can start over. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave that on 1 for now. Go back in subtools, okay, and stay on the model that we need. So I am going to bring up my floors. Okay, so I want to be able to see behind and below and side. So for the eyelid though, I mainly need the back picture. You could use the right side as well, or the side view, if you need to, because sometimes looking from the side you can get the contours here from this direction to make sure that those are correct as well. Okay, so this eye is all melted and not done. We only have one. Alright. So this one I've already sort of worked on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Draw. I'm going to open the Draw menu. This here will dock it to the right. So now it's over here. And it's open so I can use it more readily. I need a picture on the back here. So I'm going to hit Map. I'm going to hit Import. I have these pictures already set up. There's one of my face. Use this reference in order to actually find, get your eye in place. So I'm going to check, make sure that my screen is, yeah, okay, everything's level. I have it framed properly. Now I'm going to zoom in on this eye while I work on it. Okay, so I'm going to move it around until I get it where I look at the eye on the left and try to use that one as reference, so that I can put this other one in the right spot. That's a little big, so I'm going to scale it down until I get it in the right spot. That's about right. Okay, I'm lining it up because I already had this one lined up, so it's made it easier for you. You're going to have to eyeball it. I know, bad pun. Okay, so we've got that set up there. Alright, so now I'm going to use this brush that I'm on. And I'm going to start, well, it's very low poly at the moment. That's the best way to do it. I'm going to hold Alt and carve into it. And I'm finding this area in the eye and trying to clean it out. I go right into the tear duct, and if it's not small enough, make your brush smaller. And I'm using Alt, and I dig into it. Now I want to pull back, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm going to dig a little heavier. Get that out off the screen. Let me try something really quick. Okay, so the whole thing moves, including the picture, so I can zoom really in and get my brush tighter. So I'll have to shrink it down. I'm going to cut away right here. So you got the tear duct area. I'm trying to leave it a little bit of material where the tear duct is going to be. Okay, so this here, I'm going to let off Alt, and I'm going to sculpt this back in, bring some material forward. I'm going to smooth it out a little bit, if I can. Okay, so just add some material so it's there. I know that there's a puffiness, so I'm just going to add the puffiness to that area. Now, right now, the geometry is not so great, but I know that this is all here, so I'm just going to add this. See, I'm using that shadow as a guideline right here, and we know there's a crease there. So if I turn this and you look at it, see, I've created it so there's a crease there. Alright, and I've given you the geometry to work with. Alright, so now when I go into subdivision level and I up that, I've gotten lost. Here we go. Okay. So now I'm going to bring it up once, see what happens. Okay, so it smoothed it out a little bit. So if you look at it now, see, it's a lot softer, and I've already got sort of defined shapes for the eyelid. Okay. So I'm going to go in and just smooth this out a little bit. Maybe hit the high spots, drop them down to even everything out. And like being really careful. I'm trying to aim at the top of this. I'm going to try and create the geometry so it looks like an eye. Okay, so right here we don't want that there. Say goodbye. So I take my Alt, and now when I look at you look at the brush, see the red circle? I'm trying to keep that in my mind where it's at, and I'm going to hit Alt, and I'm going to tap down. And I'm going to move it up a little bit. And I'm trying to remember where the edge of my circle was. Trying to use some finesse here to clean that up. Okay. Oops, a little high. It's alright. You can always pull it back out or just resculpt onto it. Okay, so like right here, I'm going to sculpt onto it a little bit. I'm going to go in the center of my circle when I'm trying to put the material back because I don't want too much. Then I use the edge of my circle to take it back down. So this is something you're going to have to gain a feel for. You're going to have to practice it. Okay. So with digging that down in a lower subdivision level, it's very choppy. Right there in the tear duct area. Okay. So now I'm going to shift down, bring it back into its perspective. I'm going to go up to 3. I want to see how clean it looks. Okay. So now with it up in 3, when you smooth, it won't destroy the geometry as much. So I'm just trying to tighten this up and make it cleaner. And I'll get it smooth before I go in and start creasing things or pinching. And like when you see the lumps here, there's a deep spot and there's a lump, I would soften this lump first, brings it down to this one, and then smooth them both. And that sort of levels it off. So there's a high spot, so I'm going to hit that, and then I'm going to smooth it all. It's like the whole idea with this is you want to like, see like that spot needs brought up, so I'm going to build it up. And then I'll smooth it from the top down. Like that. Add some thickness to it. So I put the thickness, smooth it from the top. And that keeps the thickness on the bottom edge. Okay, so like I'm going to smooth this out. Okay, let's turn that a little bit. Oh, can't see because of the picture. Now, if the picture's in the way, just go over here, back to the draw menu. And I'm going to turn off fill mode. So now I can see it and then the picture's not in my way. So I'm just going to work on cleaning all this up real quick. Blending that in over here. So, it all depends on your picture and your anatomy of eye. If you have to use other reference other than your photograph, then use it. If it's going to help you. Okay, so I sort of got the tear duct there. I've smoothed all this out to even everything out. Got some lumps up here. I don't want those so much. Okay. Alright, so I cleaned that up. Now I'm going to use pinch, which on my menu it's there, but I'd rather show you in here. So you hit brush, which brings up this menu, and you hit P, and it drops you down, and pinch is already selected because I used it on my menu. So now I need these creases, so let's see what we got when I push the first time. Okay, so I'm about 20. And I'm still in my highest subdivision level. Okay, so I'm going to turn my picture back on real quick. So I'm trying to see. Okay, so now with the picture on, I'm trying to use the shadows to define my crease. So the crease is going to go here, right around here, and into here to create the tear duct. I'm going to work on it a little bit. I don't want to go crazy here. I know it's pinching it. And this one's a little softer out here, which is fine. But you get it started. And now I'm going to shut the picture back off so I can take a quick look. Okay, so now I've already started creating this tear duct. Alright. Now I'm sort of winging it because I want to like get it close. Okay. Because like the more you pinch an area, you can sort of direct, like when it's lumpy here, see how it's fatter here and deeper here. So now I can take that crease right there and pull it back as I'm doing it, and it'll move it back or move it forward depending on how you push. Like so I'm push back there, it goes back. I push down here, it's going to go forward, see? So now I want it to go back and line up with the other one. So if I can do this nice and even, like, I get this nice crease going. Once I've got the crease finished, then I can use the move tool to manipulate it into place. So I'm going to need my picture again because I know I got some folding skin on my eyeballs from age. Alright. So I'm having a hard time seeing it, so I'm going to move the picture around so I can look at it. Okay, so there's a fold right here. So if I have to, I will draw some fat in right here and create that in this. So for right now, we'll go back to clay buildup. Okay, that, hit C. That brings you to clay buildup. There it is right there. It's because I already picked it. It's, you know, grayed out. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add that little bit of material and with the wrinkles, you know. That was a little much back there, but I've created that little bit of fat that's connected up to here. And then I go from the back, not from the front, and smooth it back here and work my way forward. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, let's see, use the pinch real quick, and I'm going to negative the pinch right here, because what that does is it will tighten this up in the reverse. See how it creates a crease? And then I'm going to pinch it again on the outside. I really don't want to pinch it, I want it to be soft, so I'm going to have to do a little more clay buildup here. Okay, so it's giving me a difficulty, so I'm going to use the clay buildup in negative and cut that out and then smooth it from here. But you work at it until you get the look that, or desire that, you know, you want in this. Now I'm seeing that the geometry is a little wonky. Let me just check real quick, make sure what subdivision level. I believe I'm still in 3. Yeah. Okay. So because of all the pinching and creasing, what I want to do is I'm going to go to deformation right here. See, click on this. For deformation, I'm going to relax it, and what that does again is it'll take all this pinch stuff here and it'll open it up and make it a lot smoother to sculpt on. So I'm going to go about to 10, 15, and I'm going to relax this area. So it's projecting right now as it cleans up this area right here. This would go faster if you're in a lower subdivision level as well. Okay, so it's cleaned up the geometry right in this area. Makes it a little easier for me to sculpt on. So I'm going to smooth out around here again. And then I'm going to try and puff that up again. Smooth it out here. So I want to capture that crease. Oops. So in using the move tool, which is you go through here and then hit M to get the move tool. Now I can, like with the tear duct here, let me go ahead and sure up my picture to my eye. Okay, it doesn't look like it needs much, but I can move this around, and I usually use the focal shift like this just to tighten it up a little bit. So you can play with that and get it where you want it. Alright, it's a little big, so now I'll shrink it just so that I can get particular detail, very fine detail. I'm almost using it as a nudge tool at the moment. Just little taps and moving it. Click and push, click and push, click and push. Just clean up your edge, you know. So that's pretty good. Also, like with this, I would use damn standard. So you hit D, and it'll bring it up closer, and there it is. Okay, so now some of these creases here I want to work on. Let's just do it really quick. Okay, so that's a little harsh. So I want to soften that up. Uh-oh. Okay. So I'm going to turn my intensity down a little bit and make the brush bigger. Still a little harsh. Okay. Turn the intensity down to 9. There we go. So that's giving me a nice crease that's not too tight. Now okay, so I messed up at the end. Drew it all in one shot though. So now if you see, I'm waving my hand back and forth a lot there when I do that. Okay, so see, I've created that crease. Now you can make it harder, sharper, however you want to do it, but at the moment I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to show you how to use stroke really quick, because stroke will help you line up that stroke, the movement or stroke across that line. So if you go to stroke up here at the menu, go to lazy mouse, and I'm going to turn up my lazy radius to 15, 20. We'll go 30, what the heck. So what that'll do is it'll put a red line behind me as a tail. And now that line, where it's touching at the end, there's a little blue dot you can see. I don't know why I have a blue dot, but as I go, I can direct my front wherever, so I can watch and see where that's going to go. So I can try to be more accurate by dragging that thing behind me like this. So I got a second to actually aim better. And create that crease. So now I'm going to go over it again real quick, like right here. I'm just going to shoot in like with these little bit of wrinkles to deepen this area right here. So then I'm going to go over it again. Oops, I let go, sorry. Okay, so we're going to run through this. And that creates that nice crease that's on the eye. Alright. I believe at this point this thing is going to need to go up in subdivision levels. So you could up it one more. I wouldn't go more than one more on this. For right here also, to create some of that puffiness in the eye, I would use the inflate tool, or eye. It should take you to inflate, which is here. And now if you look at the eye, it's sort of puffy right here on that crease. So now I'm going to try to create that, put a blank spot of the face, by using the inflate tool. That may be up too high, but this can create little, fatty tissue and puffs in the structure of the eye. Once you work it, you can come back in and smooth it a little bit. Puffing it too much can cause it to distort the geometry, so be careful. So I sort of mix it with smoothing it and puffing it up so I can blend it correctly. Now, I could crease that more because, my actual eye is very creased. So I'm going to turn up. Now that I've puffed it up just a little bit, maybe I'll run over it one more time. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to damn standard. And I'm going to crease this one more time, but I'm going to turn it up just a little, a couple more points. Get a feel for it. Mess with the amount until you get what you want. That's what Control Z is for, so you can undo any mistakes. See, and then so now I have some lumps here and there, and I'm going to smooth that out a little bit. Just to try and keep the puffiness. Now, if you see my tool, never touches the creased line, so I don't mess it up. And you can do the same thing to the eyelid itself. So I'm going to go back to the inflate tool which is brush I. Oh, well, I guess not. Hold on. There it is. So I'm going to hit I. Inflate. Yeah, it is in the eye. Okay. So now there's a little bit of puffiness up here on this, so I'm going to try and shrink that tool just a little. I try to keep the spread so it touches the wrinkle and touches the lid. And then I'm going to come through and just puff this up a little bit. You know, don't let the tools fight you. Use them how they're made to like get the advantage of them. All right. So now I'm smoothing to like steady it, because like, you know, you'll get some weird stuff going on. Just come back in and sculpt on top of it using smooth. Okay, so there, I've puffed it up. I'll put some puffiness here, and that could go out into these wrinkles, which eventually you can take damn standard and come in and sculpt in, you know, some wrinkles coming from the eyelid. I would reserve that more for once you up the subdivision levels in this area, because it's going to need them. And I would do this before using noise texture on the actual sculpture itself. If you feel that you need to crease the eyelids more, you could do that first. I'm going to shut the picture off again. So I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to come in with pinch. I'm going to keep it really low. Start at 10, see if that's good. Like right here, I feel like it needs to be a little more tight. So now once you do this, before you start using inflate to puff it up, make sure you relax it again, right, under deformation. I'm going to soften it in here. So come back in and do a little crease on the bottom here. Now if it's getting too far, you always pull it back by holding it while it's going backwards, and it'll pull it towards the eye. Of course, when you do this, the longer you hold it, the more it's going to mess up your geometry. You're definitely going to want to use relax. So, and in that tear duct, if you want, you can also use some buildup. Use clay buildup. Zoom in on it. And add just a little bit of puff. There you go. And then you can actually take damn standard, come in there with a really small version of it, and tighten it up. And right now I have stroke on, so it's going to help me put these crease lines in it. I'm going to tighten this up too as well. Let's see, I'm going to turn this up a little higher and see what happens when I do this crease. Okay, so now I'm going to up the subdivision level one more time, which is a little high for this as far as I'm concerned, but I want to be able to cleanly go in here and like really clean this up, smooth it, not have it destroy my detail. Like I said, you can drop the subdivision levels very low and come back in and do smoothing. And when you do that, it doesn't actually hurt the definition of what you've created. It just equalizes the surface area, and then when you turn it back up to 4, it shouldn't hurt it, and it just cleans it up for you. So just different ways of doing it. But this is the best time to use damn standard. because now I can come in and, oop, a little hard. So like, always try to mess with your intensity for this. This is more of a, you got to try and practice and figure out what works good for you. So there's that, and then I would probably turn stroke off to do wrinkles and things. It's mainly for doing a controlled line. Okay, so lazy mouse under stroke, I just turned it off. So now I can actually create my wrinkles how I want them to. So that's if you get into some heavy detail doing this. Hand sculpting it, so that's pretty much it. Whoa, a little big. Mix this with some spotlight painting texture, and you can do a lot with that. So I just try to get the main shape and then come in with the texture from the photograph. So okay, that's it.